Is this Dr. Fink?
That would be me.
How are you doing? We finally got it together.
Yeah. Sorry about the time mix-ups for me anyway. I got kind of tied up yesterday with work, so I apologize.
Oh, no problem. Hey, believe me, I'm in the middle of working as well. Been in the middle of selling cars and trying to squeeze the interview in with you as well. So.
Oh, good. Okay.
So you're still a man of the working world then? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, up until a couple of years ago, a little over 2 years ago, yeah, I was just running my studio, and then I was asked to join a new company. So, well, it's an older company, but they were starting a new project, and they wanted me to come in and help out. So that's what's going on.
So that must be, pretty wild. I mean, with you guys getting all back together with the revolution and all and doing this whole thing, people you worked with prior are like, holy cow, like they didn't realize that you were probably the same guy who played with Prince, years ago.
Actually, they did. Because the owner of the company knew me from back in 2004 and 2005. We worked on some things together, and then he contacted me again back in end of 2015 to come on board and work with this new music streaming service that they wanted to start. So
okay,
that's kind of what's going on here. Plus, I helped develop their audio products as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So you've really you've kept involved with music, and it sounds like kind of like on a different side, like kind of like where the music business has really gotten kind of wacky over the last decade or so.
That's true. Yes. So, yeah,
what does that like for you personally? Somebody who was like, in the prime of selling albums to now, like,
yeah.
I mean, it must make your head spin.
It is definitely a new paradigm, that's for sure. With the music streaming companies pretty much dominating the music industry.
Right.
So, but the whole difference with our company, which is that it's catering to independent artists only, and not dealing with the majors, and the listeners are encouraged to do the judging of the artists to gain popularity on those artists that are coming on board to be a part of the system. Yeah. So it's a whole different concept. But anyway, let's talk about the revolution. What's going on there?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I mean, how has it been? I mean, it's kind of sad that it comes to. I was kind of like thinking of it almost like, as family. Like when a person passes away, everybody like gets together and they're always like, oh, we have to get back together. We got to spend time together. We have to do this and do that. And most people never do. But you guys, it brought you guys back together for the good of the music.
Yeah, and the revolution, once it was disbanded by Prince at the end of 1986, didn't play together again until end of 2003 for a special event. So, let's see, 96. Yeah, it was about 17 years roughly went by.
Wow.
Before we reunited again. And that was right at the end of 2003 to perform with Sheila E. at her Angel Bunny Foundation benefit in Los Angeles. She organized, and she brought in the Time and the Revolution and the Family and Jill Jones and a couple other female singers whose names escape me at the moment. Sorry. Chaka Khan and somebody else. But anyway, so I don't know if you were aware of that little reunion show at that time or knew anything about it or heard about it. Were you aware of that at all?
No, I was not.
Okay. So we did that, and then the Revolution really enjoyed doing that together, and we got excited to possibly look into doing more of that right away, and seeing if we could persuade Prince even to reunite with us and do some shows, because there were offers that came in around that time as well from some Japanese promoters that wanted Prince to come over with the Revolution again. But for whatever reasons he had, he was not interested. So the band decided to look into it, but it just wasn't feasible. It was kind of difficult at the time to put it all together. Right. So the next time that we played again was 9 years later in 2012 for Bobby Rifkin or Bobby Z's Heart Association fundraiser, which he wanted to put together to help out the help raise awareness for heart health and all that stuff, because he suffered a heart attack in 2011. Okay. So we wholeheartedly supported him and did that show at First Avenue, and then we did, I think we did 3 total. The Revolution was only involved in one in 2012, but I did 2 more with Bobby and some other configurations in 2013 and 14. But so the Revolution played in 2012, and again, we really enjoyed doing that, and again talked about doing more things like that. Again, things didn't quite come together, and fast forward 4 more years beyond that, and then you had Prince passing away in 2016 in April, and then again that unfortunately brought us back together, in grief and shock and everything else, going, oh crap, why didn't we do this sooner, or try to get him to do it sooner, try harder. And I've expressed this in some other interviews, I think, where I had a meeting with him in September of 2014, where he expressed at that time wanting to possibly reunite with the band. Okay. So he was thinking about it, pretty seriously thinking about it, I think. Because the first thing he said to me when I walked in to meet with him was the idea of doing that. So between that time frame of September of 2014 and when he passed away, he didn't really pursue it in a big way. Right. But I think he was getting close, because he sort of set Third Eye Girl aside, and then he went out on a solo piano tour, and then I thought to myself, it looks like he's getting something out of his system here. Maybe after he does this solo thing, he's going to get into that serious consideration of reuniting with the Revolution and maybe doing some dates again with them, and maybe bringing the Time in to play with and be on tour, do some live dates with Time and other affiliated artists. So I think he was in, always had it on the back burner, and for all we know, he was thinking it was getting close to coming to fruition, but unfortunately, didn't see it happen. Yeah, like a situation like that. As a matter of fact, I had just seen an interview with the drummer from Quiet Riot, and the headline for the interview was saying that it's so many classic rock artists out there nowadays still performing. You better see them while you have the chance, and it kind of like not just for fans, but as band members as well. If you guys are still alive and kicking, please get together and make the magic happen again. Yeah, and who better than to carry on the Prince 80s era than members of the Revolution? we are the originators of all that, along with him. And when we play the music, it sounds like it did. It was a proper way to hear it. So,
right.
That's all I can say. There's a lot of different tribute acts out and people doing it and all that, and they do a decent job. But there's nothing like the original people doing it.
Sure. Is it weird for you guys though? Is it weird for you guys without him being there?
Yeah, we have weird. In the beginning, it was weird. Now we're over the hump and getting used to doing it without him. And it's still hard to believe he's gone. It's really something that you just never quite can. It's hard to wrap your brain around it. You get used to the fact he's gone, but at the same time, when you really think about it, it makes you. It upsets you. It upsets you greatly. It's like one of those things.
I'm sure too, like because I was going through and I'd seen interviews with you guys. And you guys were talking about, especially like early on, like you're saying how it was really hard and emotional, and I'm sure there's still times when you guys look out into the crowd and people are still during songs crying. It's kind of like I would have to look away. Lately I've become very emotional, and I don't know, for some reason I'm crying in a lot more lately last year, but for just reasons like that. Music is one thing, is emotional to me. I would start crying.
Sure. No, I know. It's definitely still emotional for the audience. And for instance, we played in New Orleans and Atlanta last weekend, and we had not been there yet. So for those fans, it's again it's very emotional for them.
Sure.
And we do the meet and greet with a lot of people afterwards, and some of those people are crying, when they meet us. It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it kind of is it still shocking to you? I mean, all these years later, I'm sure, like in the peak of it in the '80s, you guys are, I'm sure, overwhelmed and taken back by it. But is it still hard for you? I mean, what is it, 30-something years later, that the music still has an impact on people like that?
Yeah, it's really amazing how the music speaks for itself. And to me, I liken it to so many different artists out there that have classic songs that were huge hits to many millions of people. And I liken it to, on the stature of maybe the Beatles or other artists that are in that iconic place that made a big cultural difference. So to me, Prince was kind of the, like, you can compare him to a Beatles type group for the 80s, and he was in there with the Bowies and the Michael Jacksons of the world from that era, and the Springsteens and the Bob Dylans and all those people. And so it's and more. I mean, there's so many fantastic, prolific artists that came before Prince and will come after Prince. But he represents the best of that era, and it meant a lot to a lot of people that he influenced so many artists and up and coming artists and people who've become popular now. Say they owe a lot to his influence. And just like when I was a kid, the one thing that really influenced me was a lot of the artists of the British invasion and American artists. But that first appearance of the Beatles on Ed Sullivan when I was 6 years old was a huge influence on me. It just I don't know, that was
life-changing.
Yeah, definitely. It was a life-changing moment for so many people. I've talked to so many musicians my age who saw that, and it's had the same impact on them. It's really interesting how it all affected people and other musicians.
Now, did you guys think of all when you were, thinking about, all right, let's take this out on the road and do a tour? Did you guys think of all maybe reaching out to anybody to fill that center spot of Prince, or?
Well, yes and no. I mean, of course, we felt like, out of respect, we did not want to necessarily do what Queen has done at this point. They waited a really long time to bring someone like Adam Lambert in,
right,
and do a lead singing role. But at the same time, we did bring Stokely Williams from Mint Condition in to do part of our show. He doesn't do every song. Got Wendy and Mark singing lead on at least half of the songs during the night or more. And then Stokely is a guest vocalist because Prince loved him, and he was, is and still is a part of the Minneapolis music scene, and made a lot of sense as a guest vocal come on board.
Right.
And be based out of Minneapolis. And he does a fantastic job as a front person and entertaining the crowd and all that. So that's why we've gone with him. I think in the future we may approach some other artists to do some guest vocal slots as well. I think that may happen. Yeah.
I mean, there's like the one person that instantly that comes to mind. Whenever you see him, you just say the influence of Prince was huge. Somebody like a Bruno Mars.
And I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, that's clearly the. You're not the first person that said this.
I'm sure.
And so yeah, we totally get that. We get Bruno. I personally love the guy. I think he's great. I think Justin Timberlake's another great choice, and we just met him recently during the Super Bowl week when he was here. And
nice.
We performed out at Paisley Park after he debuted his new album. He was out there for a special event which was sponsored by American Express, and he hung out amongst the 500 or so patrons in the audience in the big room at Paisley Park, the big sound stage, and everything was set up there for the event. And then they played his record, and then we came out and played an hour-long set of Prince material, and it was really cool. So we met him, and he was very gracious, and he's just a huge Prince fan, always has been, in spite of the so-called rivalry thing that came out years ago when Sexy Back happened, and then some comments were made back and forth between he and Prince about that, which I think was all in fun and in jest, in reality, just to create controversy.
Sure.
But, some of the fans, I think, took it too seriously and had a thing against JT for that. But the person that really started it all was Prince more than JT. It was actually Prince who made the first shot across his bow about that because of the Sexy Back song. So he said, some people are out there saying that Sexy's back. Well, I got to tell you, Sexy never left. That's what Prince said.
Right.
In the media. So then JT, hit him back with some other stuff, and then they were off and running and kind of jabbing each other. And whether it was meant seriously on their part, I don't personally think so. I know Prince. I think he was just out to get some publicity, and that's how, whether it's positive or negative, I know that's how a lot of artists work. They'll take publicity when they can get it, and they just throw that stuff out there to get people talking. So, yeah, and Justin Timberlake, of course, was on Jimmy Fallon the weekend of the Super Bowl, right after the Super Bowl, and he made it very clear of his love and respect for Prince. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, but it was great meeting Justin. I had a chance to converse with him for a bit after our show, and as we all did, and what a great guy. I mean, just a sweetheart, really. I'd give anything to have him do a collaboration with us and sing too. I would even love to see him and Bruno come up and do something together with the Revolution.
Right.
I mean, that would be amazing. if that could happen, or on each one separately at different times, whatever their availability is. If they want to come on board and work with us, I'm more than happy to accommodate them.
That would be awesome. Now, you know, the one thing about Prince that really, like, over the years, like, it kind of, like, shocked me, but whenever I would see him, like, doing interviews, it was, I always remember just sitting to myself, like, come on, spit it out, like, pull it, like, come on, like, he was so quiet and, like, didn't seem like a very, like, didn't want to open up in interviews, but then you got him on stage and it was like, where did this come from? It was like two different people.
Yeah, well, I think that was by design, possibly.
Gotcha.
Wanted to keep himself mysterious, as mysterious as he could, make it. So,
I guess he did a good job.
That's just my take. My take on it, because he never really said, "Hey, by the way, I've got this strategy where I'm trying to, be this way and that way and blah blah blah." But I mean, from me knowing him and his great sense of humor and his really truly outgoing nature, that whole keeping quiet for interviews, I think, was just by design.
Gotcha.
In the long run.
Nice. So now, what does the future hold for the Revolution? Like, are you guys going to? I mean, there's tons of music on releases, stuff pertaining to you guys. Are you guys going to do new music or?
Well, there's a lot of different ideas that are brewing right now, and I'm not totally at liberty to discuss anything, but the public will know soon. Probably in a few months, what our plans are going to be, because we're in that early phase of discussion.
Sure.
And trying to decide what's the best thing to do at this time. So we're just going to continue playing, a few times a month, a couple dates a month, maybe 2-3 tops, and just bringing it out, for Prince fans, to hear the music and pay tribute to Prince. So as far as the future, you may see new material coming out of Prince's vault. There's some other interesting ideas on the table too that are being looked at. Very interesting. Yeah,
I'm waiting patiently, and I don't have much patience, but I'm waiting.
Yeah. Well, it could take for some of these things, come to fruition. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So you guys are actually rolling into the Philadelphia area next Friday night, the 9th, March 9th, Sugar House Casino.
That is correct. We're going to be at the Sugar House Casino, and it's not a huge venue from what I understand. I believe it only seats about 890 people, something like that, 885 is what I saw. And, we just, the biggest key to everything for us is getting the word out to people, because they're just, there seems to be, even though we're selling out, a lot of shows don't sell out till the last few days because the word isn't out there. And then people, the day of the show, all of a sudden I'll get messages, I didn't know you guys were coming.
Right.
Or I would have got tickets weeks ago, So the whole PR machine is what we're trying to improve upon right now. We're trying to, and we do have a company that's helping with us, and they do the best they can. So it's just really
It's funny because
this interview today too. But go ahead, what?
I was going to say it's funny because I was talking to a friend of mine who played in a local band here in the Philadelphia area for years, and they just got back together, the original lineup, after 20-something years. And I remember being like a teenager and going to see them in the clubs, was a huge Prince fan. And I remember we would hang out afterwards and we would talk Prince and stuff like that. And he called me yesterday, and I'm like, oh, dude, guess who I'm getting ready to interview? And I'm telling him. And he's like, really? He goes, what's the Revolution doing? And I'm like, well, they've been back together. And I said, actually, they played Philly. If I'm not mistaken, you guys played 2 shows in Philly last year. He's like, I had no idea. I'm like, yeah, like next Friday night. He's like, oh my God.
Yeah, so that is can be an issue. Is like, how do you go about getting the most saturation out in the public to hear that you're out here, that you're out there doing these shows, and without taking out expensive TV ads or I mean, it's just cost prohibitive. I mean, of course, radio's excuse me, radio is always a big help. So trying to do that now. This particular publication, is this a print publication or online? How does this work?
Online.
I don't know anything about
online radio. Yep.
This is online radio. We're not live right now, are we?
No.
Hi, folks.
I'm
we're on live.
Right
We are out live. Are you taping for now?
I'm taping.
What's going on? You are taping.
I'm taping it now. Yeah, I'm going to set it up and replaying it.
And you'll be editing some stuff?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Hi, general public. He's going to be editing, or he can leave this in as I ask him the question. All right.
Oh, too funny.
So,
yes, and that's next Friday night. It's a big night. Return to Philadelphia. The Revolution. People need to be there.
Yeah, so I'm going to keep hammering the social media here for the next week, so we, sell that place out.
Cool. I'm going to help you do that.
Okay, appreciate it.
Cool. One last thing before I let you go, if I just get you to cut an ID for me. This is Dr. Fink of The Revolution, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio.
Hi, this is Dr. Fink from Prince and the Revolution, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio.
Awesome. Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to hearing new music and everything from you guys.
Yeah, we're playing a little bit live, a couple things.
Oh, cool.
New songs. All right, well, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. You bet.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.